Hello everybody, this is Mike Levitt on September 14th at around 9:40 p.m. I just got off the phone with my daughter and we're enjoying sending pictures back and forth to each other on text messaging, which is just a delightful experience with a 6-year-old daughter who is just becoming literate herself but is already firmly media literate in selecting animated GIFs to express her feelings and even spelling a few things out. It's amazing what can be done. So anyway, here I am in the program called ArtRage, and it's all the rage. I love it. By default, I've been keeping myself on the pencil tool with a color usually such as white for drawing, and with about a 50% brush size. That's good. And then I use a 3-finger tap to get rid of the menu bar. Now you see something I drew in portrait mode, but I'm shooting this video in landscape, so I think it's time. I'll save it. I already saved it. You can see that because save painting is ghosted out. I'll do new painting, and my resolution is that's the portrait version, so it's 2048, which is the maximum resolution of ArtRage by 996, which just happens to hit the exact aspect ratio, if not pixel resolution, of the Samsung Note 8, which I'm using. So the actual pixel resolution would be 2220 by 1080, but I'm in communications with ArtRage actually over Twitter, or at least their social media people, over why they have the limitation that they have. And I would actually like to, split up how that amount of memory is divided over the X by Y so that I can get a resolution of 2220 pixels across, which is what the Note 8 is, by 1080 pixels up and down, right? So I'm screencasting here so that when I pinch and zoom, the screencast is going to catch that. But when I do the 2-finger tap, it goes exactly back to, 100% or size to fit. It's 108%, which you can see when I double tap a couple of times. And that's nice. I guess that'll work. And I'll probably be pushing this up to YouTube. But I do want to make sure that I get across some of the pros and cons of what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is definitely the equivalent of, I suppose, what you'd call a Khan Academy style whiteboard video. That's the drawing style that I like and I want to emulate. And I'm starting out with white on black because it has just such a classy look, and that's the pencil drawing tool with a soft tip, and that gives you this sort of look, which is just so beautiful. Now, I have a lot of discussions with people, especially lately, about why the Note 8. Why the Note 8? Is there anything really so special? And I have been on the Note 3 and 5 so far. I did not do the 7. Somehow that experience passed me over. And for the past year and a half, 1.5 years, I have been back on my beloved Apple platform because I really love the tight vertical integration of Apple software. Apple controls everything from, the app layer in many cases because they control the main, email and calendar apps, to the OS level, to the hardware level, and then there's levels in there that are even just pretty amazing that they control because they control the CPU designs. And they even just announced the designing of their own GPU. So it's pretty impressive the extent to which Apple does deep vertical integration. But recently, my heart has been broken by Apple by moves such as removing the headphone jack, which is located right here. And I have just a normal headphone jack, so I can use my $5 headphones, which I really, that's a feature of a earbuds, $5 earbuds. That's a feature of a phone, to be able to use $5 earbuds that you get from Dwayne Reed and not have to worry too much about your headphones lose these $100 things that have to be charged, yet another thing to charge. I also can use an SD card if I wish to. SD card goes right in the same slot as the SIM, so you have to have that thing anyway. So, you know, Samsung added the SD card for external storage. Speaking of which, there is a standard, I forget what the name of the port is, but there's something like a USB, whatever the modern equivalent of the standard USB port is, for very fast charging. That is somewhere over there. And let's see, what else do I like? Oh, you gotta just acknowledge the Note 8's almost miraculous design of being just the totally generic rectangular unopinionated shape. So it's rounded corners right down to three-dimensional rounding on each corner. That gives it almost like this 2001, you know, monolith type look. And three-finger back swoosh is undo if I'm ever unhappy. So even with that toolbar gone, I have my undo, and redo is swishing to the right. So this is almost like a generic 2001 Space Odyssey black monolith that almost feels like it's incomplete, or it's almost like an insert or a component of something else. And what is that other thing? Well, it's third-party cases. And, oh, gee, I wish I knew the name of this case. My lighting isn't great. There it is, Spigen, S-P-I-G-E-N, I think it is. Spigen case. So that all goes into a Spigen, which really gives the phone its real personality and grip in its hand, because once it's in one of those cases, now it looks and it takes on the shape and the opinion of, you know, most other phones, because the styling is a thing. But really, I tell you, walk into a store, a phone store that carries the Note 8, and just pick it up in your hand and feel those perfectly, you know, 90-degree rounded off corners of the things that are three-dimensional rounded. I can't overstate how almost seamless glass object. Now, of course, there's seams because there's buttons embedded into this thing, but it's almost like everything has been polished, smoothed, and round, while still maintaining its very aesthetic right-angle corners. And I was on the Note 3, which really had a wonderful, distinctive tablet generic feel to it, but it was still quite opinionated. And then I was on the Note 5, which was very opinionated. It was definitely from the Galaxy design at the time, which had this almost like anti-iPhone feel to it. I think there might have been some, you know, legal run-ins. But the current Note 8 rounded off black obelisk design is as unique and distinctive and standalone in its own right as the rounded aluminum one was of the original iPhone in its day. Again, I encourage you to pick up and hold this thing in your hand to see what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm coming up on about 10 minutes just gushing over the Note 8 and, you know, getting my practice in with this wonderful S Pen stylus that comes with the thing and is always on there and always on you. I had a talk with one of my friends on Facebook, Mike Sins, a guy who I respect tremendously about these things. And, you know, it got to the discussion of the Microsoft Surface Pro the 4 I have with its stylus, and how they also got it so right, and how I have the Microsoft Surface Pro 4 because of that stylus. Same thing in a phone. It's just amazing that this is in a phone. And I ran over time, so thanks for joining me. Hope to talk to you again soon, and don't forget to subscribe.